watching with horror currently as one of the strongest hurricanes of modern history in the Atlantic and really anywhere is taking aim at Western Jamaica right now. Landfall is approximately 12 to 24 hours out right now, but the outer bands of very major Hurricane Melissa are already starting to affect the island, starting to um, blast Jamaica with torrential downpours, gusty winds as we speak, and has been doing so for the past couple of hours. So, to start off here, we're just going to take a peek at the high res visible satellite of Hurricane Melissa and take a look at what she has been doing um, over the past several hours throughout the day. Today, Monday, the 27th. As you can see here, as the sun started to set on Melissa, you can see another intensification explosion of thunderstorms here around the center eye is or was rather going on. You can see that low pressure situated in here. And then around that we have the CDO or the central dense overcast region. You can see that uh, very easily on this here satellite imagery and just watch how we have explosive convective development around that eye as the sun started to set on Melissa this evening. At the time of this frame, I believe Melissa was definitely a Cat 5, 175 mile per hour sustained wind gusts. And I believe that her low pressure was about 907 millibars, extremely low for an Atlantic hurricane and a late season Atlantic hurricane. At that, we can go ahead here and take a look at the reconnaissance from when this was. Yeah, so about 907, and that would be extrapolated to about 905 or 904 millibars at the surface. So again, incredibly strong hurricane here sitting south of Jamaica, currently idling in place, it seems here. We can go ahead and take a look again at this loop here and see that she has not moved much. You can see a little bit of a westward movement here. Let's go ahead and mark the eye here at the first frame, and then we'll mark where the eye was at the last frame. And you can see here, not very much movement at all. It seems that Melissa is almost stalled out here south of Jamaica right now. And that's not necessarily great for Jamaica. Now we have seen this low pressure really kind of move a little bit farther west than originally expected. Originally, it was expected to start taking that turn a little bit earlier with that eye set to um, impact near, I believe it's Treasure Beach area in here, but it has moved a little bit farther west than originally anticipated. So maybe hoping that we will start to actually move a little bit even farther west than it is now, and maybe, just maybe, Jamaica could avoid the worst of it with that eye and subsequent eye wall moving just offshore. But from what I'm seeing right now, it seems that Melissa has stalled just in front of that frontal boundary and upper level forcing that is going to kind of slingshot this back off to the northeast tonight. Let's go ahead and take a look at infrared since it's dark now. And we can do the same thing that we did before to kind of get a sense of where Melissa is moving. So let's go ahead and put a dot. We'll use black since this is kind of a bright color scheme here. We'll put black right in the middle of that low there, or even do low pressure there. And let's go ahead here and zoom to now. This was not long ago, and as you can see, honestly, pretty much the exact same spot. So this major hurricane is stalled out just south um, of Jamaica right now, and currently we have a very kind of diffuse cold front that is oriented like this here that Melissa is going to begin to interact with here tonight, as well as kind of an amplified mid-level flow here that's kind of oriented like this with flow out of the southwest towards the northeast that is going to work to kind of slingshot Melissa right back up here to the northeast. So again, even though Melissa's eye is currently to the west of Jamaica, I do expect it to take more of a uh, northeast jaunt over the night when she really starts to interact with, again, that cold front and upper level flow. But wow, just take a look at this absolute beast of a hurricane. As you can see here, these cloud tops are in the mid 80s, negative 80s degrees Celsius. So these things are incredibly high up in the atmosphere in this CDO or central dense overcast. Convective development is just extremely robust in this area around the eye. Wow, just look at this. Let's just watch a couple loops of this. This is just absolutely incredible. Currently idling in place. And actually, it almost looks like it's starting to take that northeast turn now, as you can see here. Kind of starts to jog back up to the northeast in those last couple frames. Now, we're going to have to wait a little bit longer to see if that turn to the northeast is just another wobble, um, which wobbles are very, very common with intense, strong to intense hurricanes. We're going to see if this is a wobble or if this is actually the true um, indicator of Melissa starting to take that northeast jog. So now that we have taken a look at the physical characteristics of Melissa, again, textbook, absolute buzzsaw hurricane out here in the southern Caribbean, very strong for the Atlantic. This is a high end. This is about as strong as the Atlantic can generate hurricanes. This is very Western Pacific like. Again, 903 millibars in the center of that eye right now with 175-mile-per-hour sustained winds at the surface in that eye wall. So very strong hurricane. We've kind of settled on that path. I do still think that it's going to take that jog to the northeast. Currently looking like it's going to impact somewhere here in central to western Jamaica late tonight into tomorrow morning and throughout the day is when this the bulk of this hurricane, the CDO here, is going to actually make landfall into that area. But now that we've kind of looked at satellite, we've gotten an idea of the physical appearance and characteristics of Melissa, taking a look at what she is currently and has been doing in terms of track, and kind of discussed where I think Melissa will actually make landfall. Let's go ahead and look at the true intensity of Melissa. To do this, we're going to go ahead and look at the past couple of aircraft reconnaissance missions. One was failed because they went in and it was too turbulent. They had to turn around, which is very uncommon. These guys fly into numerous of Category 5s every couple of years. So kind of remarkable that they had to actually turn around because it was too severe. Currently, we have a mission in the storm right now. The last pass you can see here, 907 millibars, so it remains about the same as it was last time, about 903 millibars when it's extrapolated. Very, very strong incredibly strong. So what we're gonna go ahead and do, we're gonna look at the suspected surface wind rates. So as you can see here from the data, it looks like this is not what I wanted. You can see that we are getting theoretical uh, wind measurements in knots up to almost 170 knots. That's about 210 miles per hour. Now, again, these are not particularly accurate, but that gives you an idea of how strong this hurricane really is. Let's go ahead and let me just kind of reference what the EF or tornado scale looks like. So, when it comes to tornadoes, an EF1 is in the 90 to 100 range. Now, those aren't exact measurements. That's just kind of a range. An EF4 is up to it's up to 200 miles per hour. And an EF4, as many of you know, pretty much destroys everything. Swipes foundations clean. And then we get to an EF5, which is just remarkable damage, and that's over 200 miles per hour. And this hurricane very likely has gusts in excess of 200 miles per hour in a much larger region. And those, wherever is hit by this hurricane, it's going to be subject to those winds for much longer than a typical tornado impact. This is a remarkable, extremely sobering happenstance here as this hurricane takes aim at western Jamaica. This is not going to be a good situation. Let's go ahead and take a look at the drop sound data. This is essentially, so you have a plane flying up above. This is my plane. Isn't it beautiful? And it's going to drop a measuring tool down into the hurricane. And that's going to take dew point and temperature and pressure, air pressure, and wind readings at every height. And as you can see here, the mean wind in the lowest 150 meters off the surface was 159 knots. That's about, I believe that's about 190 miles per hour. It might be a little less. It's probably in the 180 to 195 mile per hour range. That's why the National Hurricane Center currently has the 175 mile per hour warning for western Jamaica. And again, that's a EF4. That's an EF4 level wind speed. So whatever is hit by this eye wall is going to be completely obliterated, unfortunately. I think it's important to note that those winds that we're looking at are only located in the eye wall, which is just about 10 miles around this eye in every direction. And so it's a very small region of the whole hurricane itself. Now, you may experience hurricane force winds, which is greater than 70 mile per hour, 75 miles per hour here, in the whole CDO region, the whole kind of more dense convective area. However, the greatest winds only going to be located here in this eye wall. So whatever is hit by this very small region is where the greatest damage is going to come from. That is important to note because the whole island of Jamaica is not going to see 175 mile per hour wind gusts. It's only going to be about an area that's probably 20 miles wide here. And that can shift anywhere that the path of the hurricane actually goes. So incredibly strong hurricane. Unfortunately, looking like it's going to make direct landfall in Jamaica. Let's go ahead and take a look at the latest uh, HAFS hurricane model run here. And as you can see here, it is on. This is using, these models use current data, so it is on here with the 907 millibars. It may even be a little bit lower. It may be closer to 904, 903 millibars when it's extrapolated down here. But this model has it at 907. That's what the aircraft reconnaissance had it at. So we're going to trust that. You can see that the HAFS actually has this hurricane bombing out tonight down to sub 900. When we're talking about, 890 to 900 millibar hurricanes, these are the highest end hurricanes possible. These things could be producing wind gusts in excess of 200 miles per hour, in excess of 205 miles per hour. These things are the absolute pride of Mother Nature. These things are the craziest, most intense phenomenon that Mother Nature can produce. This is about as close to perfect when it comes to a storm that the Earth can produce here. An absolute, just beautiful symmetry, very stable, very low pressure hurricane. You can see it bottoms out here on this model at about 896. Now, I would not be surprised to see it dip even lower into the lower 890s. I don't think it's going to get any lower than that. Actually, I know it's not going to get any lower than that. That would just be unheard of. But again, very strong hurricane. Looking like it's going to reach max intensity here over the night tonight as it starts to approach Jamaica. Now let's pay close attention to where this model has this hurricane landfalling. And as you can see here, it's looking like this model is going to place the landfall here with that. I'm just going to circle the eye wall because again, this is where the greatest of winds are located. These greater than 175 mile per hour gusts are going to be located right in here. Has this making landfall in kind of west central Jamaica here tomorrow, late tomorrow morning. So about this would be at 11 o'clock Eastern time is when this thing is starting to make serious landfall. Let's go ahead and take a look at another model. Actually, I'm going to keep this. I'm going to keep this circled. And we'll see where the other model puts it. We'll go to the B here. Go to the HFB. Let's see here. This is looking like this is has it making landfall in the same spot. We can go ahead and take a look here at um, ensemble our spaghetti plot. As you can see here, this kind of hones in on that western limb of Jamaica. Go back here, satellite, point it out. It's looking like all the models are kind of converging on a landfall right in this it's almost like a little bay in here. I'm not sure what that's called. I'm not familiar with Jamaica's population density or town names or anything like that. But it's looking like landfall is going to be in this area, and that tracks. As you can see, it's kind of made this journey, and then it's just kind of stalled right in here and starting to make kind of a northeastward turn. Now, I could foresee it going a little bit further to the east, but I guess can't really tell at this point. Let's go ahead and take a look back here at satellite and maybe Yeah, so we've had a couple new radar frames added here, and it does look like it's starting to make that northeastward turn. I could see this thing making landfall. Uh, my prediction is just about in there when it seems that all the models are a little bit further to the west. I do think a little bit further eastward landfall, like a little bit closer to that Treasure Beach is likely, in my opinion, here as it starts to make this northeastward turn and kind of ride this cold front that's situated, oriented from the southwest to the northeast. Incredible hurricane. Incredibly bad situation, though. So, what do we know right now? We have a monster hurricane out in the southern Caribbean, actually, a record holding hurricane, the driest eye in recorded history anywhere on Earth. Incredibly strong Cat 5 hurricane. Currently south of Jamaica. We know that Jamaica is going to be impacted directly by this hurricane somewhere in this area as it takes a northeastward turn. This area is going to be affected only in a short area. It's only going to be, again, it's only going to be a small area that is going to be affected by the crazy, 200, possibly 200 per hour wind gusts. And it's going to be somewhere in here. It's not going to be this whole area. It's just going to be about an area that is probably about 30 miles in width that's impacted by the eye wall just around the eye. And we can expect that in this area, there are going to be wind gusts in excess of 170 miles per hour. That is going to level any building that it impacts. It's going to flatten forests, it's going to level buildings. That is unsurvivable if you're on the coast. That is unsurvivable. What else do we know? Anywhere, let's go ahead and take a look at the. So, hurricanes are very. We're going to talk about storm surge here just for a second. Hurricanes, go ahead and hide this. Storm surge only occurs in a hurricane on the area where the wind is coming off of the ocean. What I mean by this is that over here, so this would be to the south or to the east, anywhere to the east of the eye is where the storm surge is going to occur. And that's because what storm surge actually is, dang it, I just got rid of it. We can go back to here. The the storm surge is only going to occur on the eastern side of the eye. And that's because what storm surge is the low pressure of the hurricane is going to raise the sea level, and then the wind is going to push that water on shore. And so we have to have wind that is coming off of the ocean to effectively push the water on shore. On the east side of the hurricane, you can see that this water these winds are coming off the ocean, so it's going to push that storm surge up onto land, while on the west side, the wind is actually going to be coming off of the land. It's going to be oriented from the north, effectively pushing the water farther out to sea. And we can actually see this in major hurricanes. We almost get like a effect, like a tsunami effect, where the water is pushed out to sea. So to go back to our map here, wherever this hurricane landfalls, the storm surge is going to occur only on that eastern side, and the storm surge will extend fairly far out to the east, anywhere that there is tropical storm or hurricane force winds, which is going to be a fairly broad area here, not intense winds, but hurricane force or tropical storm force. And so this whole, really all of central Jamaica over needs to be prepared for um, high storm surge. Again, if you're in a coastal town, this is going to be devastating. if you're a coastal town that's going to be in this eye wall, that is going to be unsurvivable. It's just going to be unsurvivable. We're talking about probably close to 20-foot storm surge with 175 plus mile per hour wind gusts. Not good. Not good at all. So again, strong Cat 5, very strong wind speeds. It's going to make direct landfall with Jamaica tomorrow morning. High storm surge is expected, devastating wind damage is expected, and also rain. I have not talked much about rain, but the entire island here is going to be affected and already is being affected with very high amounts of rainfall. We have mountains that run west to east here, and this rain is these mountains are acting like a sponge, or like it's acting like it's squeezing the water out of the sky, almost like a sponge. These rain bands are hitting those mountains, and it's just going to drop so much rain, especially on the southern side. So watch out for landslides, really, in much of this region, even here on the north side of Jamaica as well. You're going to get a lot of rain too. Need to be watching out for mudslides there. Um, for I mean, it'll probably honestly be the next several weeks. So this is a not good situation here. And I don't expect this thing to lose much steam before it hits Jamaica. Let's talk a little bit about what's going to happen after, because I know I probably don't have very many Jamaican people watching, and um, we also want to know what happens after it impacts Jamaica. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at our spaghetti model. As you can see, it's going to take that northeast jog and it's going to continue on a fairly northeast path. And it's going to impact eastern Cuba. It's also going to impact parts of the southeast Bahamas and also the St. Lucian Islands. Probably not going to be very strong at this point. As you can see here, forecast models agree that it's probably not going to be the strongest hurricane at this point. Maybe in the 950s, 950s to 990 millibar range. Just a mid-range Cat 2 to Cat 3 impacting Cuba. So probably still a major hurricane as it impacts Cuba. So anyone living in that area also needs to be paying attention. And then it's going to further lose steam as it works over Cuba before hitting the St. Lucian Islands, maybe as a low on Cat 2 or Cat 1, before eventually losing steam and becoming just another tropical storm out here over the open Atlantic. So we may be out with another video, probably not, but Jamaica, fortunately, is in for a world of hurt. Thoughts and prayers will be to the people that are going to have to endure this thing over the next couple of days. And then also to the people as Cuba, as well as a major hurricane will be making landfall there as well in the days following it's hitting Jamaica, and then St. Lucia. It will be a lower end hurricane as it impacts you, but nonetheless, as it is a hurricane. And then I don't see any chances of it hitting the United States, but if something were to happen where it were to take kind of a recurve here, then another forecast video will be posted. But again, don't think that's going to happen. Thank you guys for watching and have a good one.